Since we're talking about dating, let's talk about these stories from the front lines of the pandemic dating. I'm not going to really read this one either, but because let's talk about it. I think it's really important. It talks about how different this is dating over the age of 50 and how much more challenging it is. I did. You sent the article in?
Yep.
What was your thought?
Well, I just think that the pandemic has changed how we socialize anymore. And, it caught my attention because it said dating in general is hard. Being single is hard. And then over 50 is even harder. And then try doing it during a pandemic. Like, oh, that's kind of interesting. I just wanted to,
I can vouch for that. Amen.
I just wanted to read into some insight of how they, looked at it. And it was every story I read. Like you said, there's about 4 or 5 stories that were just, it made you feel good. It was neat. And how they didn't let something like a pandemic affect and falling in love. And I think one of them even said was the greatest thing that happened to them. So,
just a way to navigate a little differently.
Yeah.
And I think it forces people, because of people's fears of corona, it forces people to vet their potential dates a little bit more so that they aren't exposed to somebody. They're making sure that it's a true connection before they go out on a date.
I thought it was interesting how because you're working from home, so many people are working from home right now, that allowed them to get together because they were both working from home. Whereas if they were going to their jobs, they wouldn't have been able to make this connection because that couldn't have happened.
Busy.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, like one of them was from Milwaukee and one was from Nashville, I believe, but they were able to travel back and forth to each other's homes because they were both still working, but that could have never happened if we weren't in the pandemic. So,
but look at the technology. Neat. I mean, you can video, you can chat, you can text. Some people nowadays don't even have cell phones. So, you know what I mean? Now you have all this technology at your, access. So it's almost like you're realistically there. I mean, you can video chat and do anything, and it's almost like you're there anyway. So
yeah.
And maybe you give it a little bit more time than rushing into like a quick date or a quick meeting. You get, it enables you to have a little bit more time to get to know each other. It's sort of forced, but not to, be the damper on things. I'm going to bring up my mom. I'm going to bring up a personal story. She communicates through, social media outlets to find interested companions. And sometimes it doesn't always work out the best for her. And I just think it's good to note that not everybody has good intentions and not everybody is who they say they are. So, most definitely do your investigation, do your research, take your time, be patient, ask the right questions, because I personally have experienced, some interesting situations through family members with that.
So true.
One of the funny, maybe not funny is the best word, but one of the people that was interviewed talked about it actually is cheaper because he's not having to go out to the bar and buy drinks to wheel broads, which
and
it's a different way to look at it, but
it's kind of true, in a way. I feel bad actually. As a woman, I feel bad for men that they feel they have these expectation and obligations to do this or that. You're gonna do your due diligence before you come face to face with somebody, and I think that's a big. There was a couple that had talked probably daily for 2 months before they ever met, but they knew when they met that there was something there, and it wasn't just kind of throwing stuff at the wall and see what sticks. Yeah.
So I'll say this: I've been dedicated to the podcasting face to face since the very beginning, pre-pandemic. I started this in late 2019. And I've stuck with that through the pandemic because there's nothing more powerful than a personal face-to-face connection. And so I struggle with this a little bit. I think that I personally think, and my opinion is, we're going to see some issues down the road with this. Just because, like Harmony said too, you can fake it for a really long time online.
Yeah. Look, no bowling alleys, no movie theaters. It's even hard to go to the mall and walk around to meet a date. You don't have to go out for drinks all the time, but it's just hard to socialize, to find something to do right now, the way society has put, parameters in place for everything.
But then the people that did connect because they don't have to travel as much anymore, but they could travel together.
Correct.
That's powerful, and that's what they need to do.
Right.
And so that's really my point is that circle back to that connection. You have to meet face to face soon, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I agree.
I agree.
You,
I agree.
You know, again, going, you know, being on an outsider, you know, from a family member and seeing somebody go a year or two without actually ever meeting them, or, you know, a lot of red flags are there. So I hope that, you know, if this continues, I'm so happy for the individuals that meet this way and it works out. I love hearing the good stories, but it's just me. I got to be like, be cautious, you know, not everything is what it seems. And I don't want to be negative Nancy, but it's just true, and I've seen it happen to a lot of people I care about.
My dad would say, "I'll blow and no show," meaning like somebody can talk and talk, but they can't walk the walk.
Mm-hmm.
So over the phone, they can sound like, or phone or whatever, internet kind of thing, they can sound like, you know, anything they want to be. But until you really meet them in person, do you
There's
really
so
get to
much
see the
nuance
true-
between conversations in person versus online.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
even on
I mean,
FaceTime.
you
or
can't detect
Zoom
emotion,
or-
tone, facial expressions, body language. A lot of stuff is missing.
Right.
And then, you know, when you finally get together face to face and it works out wonderfully, that's amazing, just because all those things were absent. And a lot of guessing, you end up, you know, a lot of assumptions with texting, if that's the only way, or if you're so fortunate to do FaceTime or any of that, that's great. But otherwise, you're assuming a lot, you know, just by somebody's response or a sentence through text.
Yeah, I don't mean to be negative about it. It's my personal bias is face to face. Like, I mean, I could have done podcasts with some very, very influential people, but because of the COVID stuff,
You're stuck with us.
I'm like, right, I'm stuck with you. No, my other podcast.
And you know what? I have a
But-
cute little giggle, but I can only say LOL in a text so many times before they like get that I'm actually chuckling or giggling, you know, cackling kind of thing or whatever.
I just think it's funny with that LOL, because really it should be just more like I'm just breathing through my nose. Or, are we ever really laughing out loud? It's just funny how often we actually put that at the end of something, snorting out loud. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but there was a reconnection in here in one of the stories too, that they had been together in the past and they reconnected because life was able to slow down,
Yeah.
realize how they missed each other. That's really powerful.
Nice.
So it's a tool that you can use in a good way or in a negative way, unfortunately, like everything. But a lot of good, feel-good stuff here for sure. Especially when the guy doesn't have to buy drinks and dinner, right?
Aw.
Or the girl.
Or
What
the
about
girl.
Dutch? It's okay to be
And
Dutch.
I'm just going to say,
Yeah.
who doesn't love love? It's just nice to get together and not have to feel that it's so materialistic, that drinks have to be bought, that dinner has to be made, and, you know, just enjoying one's company.
Harmony, you're going to make me cry now.
Hey, a lot of people have asked how they can support the work we're doing here at Matt Logan Speaks. Well, you see this hammer that I got in my hand? It's pretty big. All you have to do is hammer the share button. Go ahead and hammer out a comment to us. Go ahead and hammer the like button. Go ahead and hammer the subscription button. Go ahead and hammer the notification bell so that when we have new content up, you're the first to know about it. We really appreciate the comments, shares, likes, because you know what? That's the best way you can support us, because the algorithms on all these fancy computers, that's what they need. We appreciate it.